Well, welcome to the Dauphiné, and we've got so much to show you. Let's start with a few new bikes. Trek Madone. So to Trek first, and a new slimmed down Trek Madone RSL has been spotted at the Criterium du Dauphine, raising questions about the future of Trek's road race lineup. Specific claims have not yet been made by Trek, and the Lidl Trek team remained very tight-lipped as to when the bike is expected to be used by the whole squad. But given the Dauphiné is a key Tour de France warm-up race, the new Madone is likely to launch ahead of the Grand Boucle. There are a few things to spot on this bike, and the first of which is a slimmed down silhouette. Trek seems to have reduced the depth of the tube shapes across the frame, suggesting the new Madone has been on a bit of a diet to make it lighter. Now, this might mean that Trek could claim that Madone can be used on all stages of a road race, be that the high mountains or flat sprint stages. To do so, Trek will have had to take steps to retain the Madone's aerodynamic credentials, though without wind tunnel and real-world testing data, it is impossible to decipher whether this is the case. The key consideration is whether Trek has left space in its racing lineup for the current climbing bike, the Amonda. The Amonda is currently the only bike Lidl Trek has in use that can be built down to the UCI's 6.8 kilo minimum weight limit. A 56cm Madone RSL, for example, tipped our scales at 7.29 kilos, though we're not sure what the new bike will weigh. Now, moving to one road race bike option is very common. We've seen Specialized do it with the SL7. But if Trek does kill off the Amonda, that would bring a tear to our eye. Back for round 2 is ISOFloat. This is the seat tube hole with the cantilevered seat post, and it divided opinion, but the design is back on the latest Madone. ISOFloat replaced ISOSpeed, that was the decoupler system, which had been a feature of the Madone since it went all in on aero with the 9 series in 2015. Now, the ISOFlow system was there to maintain compliance while also being faster and lighter, though it's unclear whether Trek has refined this system in any way. While the shape of a water bottle being relatively standardised is ideal for fitting any bottle and cage onto your bike, their tubular shape is not aerodynamically optimised. And it appears that Trek has taken some steps to making the bottle a little bit more aero. It's a measure that we've seen used on time trial bikes, but with road races requiring several bottle hand-ups through a stage race, it's not overly common sight on normal race bikes. But what do you think of this new bike? If you didn't like it, then good news, there are more new bikes right on the way. Starting with the Ineos Grenadiers team, who appear to be on a new Pinarello Dogma F ahead of the Tour de France. Lining up at the start of a key warm-up race, the riders will be getting acquainted with the new design before July's big race. But given what looks to be minor changes, familiarity probably won't require many hours in the saddle. We've seen a host of bike brands launching seemingly small revisions to their race bikes, and the focus is almost always directed to the bike's frontal profile. Now, fans of Specialized, for example, might have felt a little underwhelmed at the first sight of the Tarmac SL8. Its redesign focused mainly on a new head tube, and there is good reason for brands to be focusing on this area. The UCI's relaxation of its 3:1 depth to width ratio was followed by much deeper and thinner head tubes, so it seems that Pinarello is chasing some drag reduction from the front end, but other changes might be designed with weight saving in mind. The down tube appears to be slightly narrower in places, potentially just reducing the amount of material required and possibly lowering the weight. What is clear is that there is still a recessed area for the bottle and cage. This is an effort to shield the front bottle from drag-inducing air, and was a feature introduced on 2019's Dogma F12. While the down tube may have been made lighter, Pinarello appears to have added more size to the bottom bracket. The area directly above the bottom bracket cups has become more angular, flowing directly from the chainstay to the down tube. This is usually accompanied by claims of increased lateral stiffness, so it will be interesting to hear what Pinarello has to say when the bike is launched. For now, we would expect the traditional bike launch schedule to be followed, with news of the new model coming in the days before the Tour de France. We also have a brand new Canyon Aeroad that's just behind me. Now, the giveaway here is quite subtle, but if you take a look down at the handlebar, you will see that the system is using the gear group that we saw first introduced on the Grail gravel bike. Now what this means is that Canyon has probably redesigned the front end, but it seems like that is pretty much the extent of the changes. Interestingly, while Canyon has provided Movistar with the new bikes, the Alpecin team that I walked past had nothing new. Now, while I said that the front end was the main change, there is a tiny change at the back end. It's that this area here with the seat stays where they connect to the down tube. Okay, no. Pabon from the Movistar helper there. What I was saying is that the seat stays kind of connect in a slightly different fashion to the seat tube, whereas there was a bit of a gap in the old system. It is a tiny change and probably not worth pissing off Movistar for. We were also treated to a brand new Wilier, but what it is isn't quite clear. This certainly looks like it's in the final prototype stage rather than being given to the whole team. The bike uses a fully integrated design without a cable on show, but there is also a plethora of lightweight features that make us think that this is probably a lightweight aero race bike. Wilier have also covered it in a smattering of interesting geometric shapes, making it very difficult to deduce any kind of tube shaping. Interesting for me was the seat tube, which featured a heavily rounded design, and in fact so did the seat stays. And we just couldn't help but notice that David Gaudu was being very traditional and using Continental's competition Pro Limited tubular tyres. Well, there you have it, a host of new bikes at this year's Criterium du Dauphine. We would assume that most of these will be launching before the Tour de France, so we will be keeping our techie eyes peeled for official details. Which one of these bikes was your favourite? Do drop us a comment and remember to like and subscribe before you go. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.